Hello learners, welcome back again to our science lesson with Mr. Salim. So today we'll be discussing about the major blood groups, okay? So we have what we call ABO blood system. Now this ABO blood system normally helps us to group bloods, okay? So we have like 4 major blood groups. Now these 4 major blood groups, we're going to discuss about them. So we have ABO, okay? So just remember that. So A, B, okay. Now the third one normally is the combination of A plus B. So it's AB, and then we have O. So we have A, blood group A, we have blood group B, we have blood group AB, and then the last one we have blood group O. But then it's normally easy for you to identify these blood groups and if you only have what we call the antigens. So we're going to also learn about what we call the antigens. Okay. Now these antigens can either be antigens A or antigens B. Okay, remember that there are two. So it can either be antigen A or antigen B. And this will now help you to identify the blood groups. So let's take a look at this demo that I'm going to show you so that it can help us to understand the blood groups. Okay learners, so as I do my demo, I'm just going to use this as my antigens. Remember, the antigens are the proteins that are normally found on the cell, okay? For example, let's say this is a red blood cell, all right? So on the cell or on the wall of it, on the surface of this cell, we normally have these antigens. So they normally, get attached around these cells, okay? That's how it is. Okay, that's the first step. The second step that I want you to understand is that we have either antigen A or antigen B. So in this case, let's use this as antigen A. So this is our antigen A. Okay, this will be our antigen A. And then let's use these blue ones as antigen B. All right. Okay, simple. So now in a red blood cell, we normally have, blood group A. So this blood group A, they normally have this antigen A. So this antigen A is normally found on the wall of this blood group or this cell. Is it making sense? Good. And then we also say this is blood antigen B. So this antigen B, they are normally found in the blood cell or the blood group B because they have the antigen B. And then now you see, I'm sure you can now tell what blood group AB has. Blood group A has what? Antigen A. So let's put the antigen A. That's why it is A. There is the presence of antigen A. Okay? And then also blood group AB has what? Antigen B. These are the antigen B. So let's stick them around this cell. Okay? So you can see now blood group A has antigen A. Blood group B has antigen B. Blood group AB has both antigen A, these ones here, and antigen B, these ones here. I hope it's making sense, right? Now, this one makes it very easy for you to understand. O, remember, blood group O is like having no antigens at all. So just remember, O, 0 is nothing, okay? So blood group O, which is the last one now, has no antigens. I hope that makes it clear, right? So we have already discovered that we have 4 major blood group here. So we have A, which has antigen A. We have blood group B, which has antigen B. And we also have the third one, which is antigen AB, which is found in the blood group AB. And then the last one, we don't have any antigen. So that's 0. It doesn't have any antigen. And that's how we can really get these 4 major blood groups. I hope it's clear up to there. Now, after this, we are going to now see how the blood groups can be, it can either be donated or how we can also receive the blood, okay? Because all these blood groups cannot just, be donated to anybody. Depends with what it has inside. And that we have to explain later. Is that okay? So that's it for now. Let's carry on. Okay, so now that we have identified the 4 major blood groups, what we're going to do, we want to know whether, we want to know these key things. One, I want us to discuss about I want us to identify what a donor is, and I want us to also discuss what a recipient is, and I also want us to discuss what agglutination is, okay? And then the last one we're going to also discuss is blood transfusion. Blood transfusion. Perfect. Now listen, this is just going to help us, come up with, like if for example you've been asked what is a blood donor, who is a blood recipient, okay, all these, so that you are familiar with these terms. After that, we're now going to see, when you have a donor and you also have a recipient, so we can see who can donate blood to who, in which category of blood group. So for a donor, a donor is normally simply a person who donates blood. Simple. A donor is a person who donates blood. How about a recipient? Just from the word itself, recipient is a patient who receives blood. So where does the recipient get the blood from? From a blood donor. Okay? Recipient is a patient who receives blood. Okay? Now, one thing that I want you to understand is that, you see, if a donor gives the recipient the blood that does not match, then what will happen is what we call agglutination. What we call agglutination. Is that okay? Now, what is agglutination? Agglutination, in a simple term, is just a reaction, When you give that person the blood that does not match, then there will be a reaction. And that reaction can cause the blood cells to block, and the blood flow won't be there anymore. And if there is no blood cell, if there is no blood flow, do you think you can survive? No, because we need the blood to flow in our blood vessels. So if this is happening, the agglutination, when there is that blockage, when there is that reaction, what happens is that the person or the recipient or the patient that you have just donated blood to will end up dying, and that's not what we want, right? So we have to first of all do what we call blood transfusion. You have to check that blood, yeah? So you have to screen that blood to see whether that blood is suitable for that sick person. And the last one is just something that I've already said, is that blood transfusion. So blood transfusion is normally a procedure in which a recipient receives the blood from their blood donor. Is that okay? So blood transfusion is normally just simple procedure. So you can say a procedure that normally takes place in which patients, gets blood or receives blood. Gets blood. So they receive blood from their donor. The recipient is the person who is sick, who needs the blood. Agglutination is that reaction that happens when the blood doesn't match. I hope it's clear, right? Now, before we dive in, I want to explain or to see how the donor or the recipients, those who deserves to get the blood, I want you to just, take a note of these keywords: donor, recipients, agglutination, blood transfusion. Is it clear up to there? Perfect. So now we've come up with this simple table. This one will help us to know the donors and the recipients. Okay. Now remember, we said that blood group A has an A antigen. Remember, this is the one that we use as an A antigen, right? So A antigen can give, A. Why? Because A also has what? A antigen. Remember, if you introduce something new to the blood or to the blood cell, what will happen is there will be agglutination. And what did we say agglutination is? The reaction that normally happens that blocks the blood flow. So this one can give this. Is that correct? Yes, so let's put a tick. But then, do you think A can give it to B? No. Why do you think A cannot donate to B? Because B does not have A antigens. So this one, let's just put it an X, because it does not have A antigens. How about AB? Do you think it can receive? Yes, because it has A antigen. So we have A antigen here. Okay? So that means if you have blood group A, you can donate to somebody who has AB blood group. So this one we're going to put a tick. How about O? O we can't, because we say that O has no antigen. And if you introduce something new that is A antigens into the blood that is having no antigens, what will happen? There will be that reaction, and we don't want that reaction. So what do? We put it as an X. Up to there, is it clear? Now let's do this together again. I want you to just follow with me. Just try, draw your own table, and then let's do it slowly together. So remember, B, blood group B has what? B antigens. This is what we use as B antigens. All right? So blood group B has B antigen. Do you think it can donate to A? No. Why? Because A has only A antigens. Can it give to B? Yes. Why? Because B has what? B antigen. So blood group B can receive from blood group B, because they both have what? B antigens. How about AB? They can receive. Why? Because this one also has what? B antigen. So that can receive. How about O? O can't, because we said you can't introduce something new to it. There'll be agglutination, that reaction that we don't want. Let's move on to AB now. So what do you think A can do? Can AB donate to A? Yes. Why? Because we have A antigen. So this one is okay. How about B? Yes, because it has what? B antigen. Remember, this one is there, and this one is B. So let's put it like that. That's a tick. How about AB? AB can, because they both have A and they both have B. So this one is okay. Then let's move on to the next one now. So remember, this one we had both A and B. So that's why we put it as, they both have A antigen and B antigen. This one can't, because you're introducing new antigens to the blood cell, and we don't want that, because there'll be a reaction. Now let's move on to O. O does not have any antigen. That means even if you give it to someone, then there won't be any reaction, because there are no antigens. All right? So if there is no antigen, remember we said this is O, zero antigens. It doesn't have any antigen. So what happens is that if a blood group O gives to A, there won't be any reaction, and that's perfect. That's okay. You can give it to someone who has blood group A. O can also give to B, right? Because there is no new antigen that you're introducing to blood group B. How about AB? Yes, because there is no new antigen that you're introducing there, because it's just like, it's neutral, it's nothing, yeah? There won't be any reaction. Can O give to O? Perfectly okay. And that's why we normally call blood group O a universal donor. A universal donor. And also there is something that you can notice here. AB is a universal recipient. You can see, right? You can see all these we marked correct, so they can donate, right? They can give it to the person. So O, blood group O has what? Is like a universal donor, and blood group AB is a universal recipient. So remember these two. Remember, in our next lesson, we are still going to see, we can still break this down into, more, because we have something called rhesus factor. And that now will help us to identify more about the blood groups and also to identify more about the blood donor and the blood recipients. Okay, learners, so now we have discussed about the 4 major blood groups. Okay, so we have said that we have 4 main or major blood group, right? Now from those 4 major blood groups, we can come up with the 8 types of blood groups. Remember, we were discussing and we said that there are some, blood donor and also the blood recipient. But from those blood donor and blood recipients, we can still break it down further so that we can have the 8 types of blood. So we can simply say we have 8 types of blood. So we can break it down further, okay? And these 8 types of blood will only be determined by something called rhesus factor. Okay, so rhesus factor is normally RH factor. In a simple word, we normally refer to it as RH factor. This now determines whether the blood type is either positive, this is the sign, positive, or negative. Is that okay? Either it's positive or negative. As you can see, remember we had 4 major blood groups, right? We had A, B, and O. But then you can see here we have A positive, A negative, B positive, B negative, AB positive, AB negative, O positive, O negative, right? So you can count. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that means we have 8 types of blood. Those 4 major blood groups were just to get to understand that we also have 4 major groups, right? But these ones now we break it down. And what helps us to break it down is the RH factor. Okay? So whether the blood group is positive or blood group is negative. Is that okay? Now, we want to see whether this can also, apply. That's just the same way we did with the 4 major blood groups. Now we want to see how this can donate to these ones. So here at the top we have the donors or blood donors. This side we have the recipient. Maybe I can just write here recipient. Okay? And this side we have the donor. Okay? So this one gives to the recipient. Now I want you to remember this. Positive. Let me just put a star here so that it can help you remember. Positive, remember, positive receives from both positive and negative, okay? So these ones can receive from both negative and positive. But negative can only receive from negative. It can't receive from positive. Is that okay? This can help you a lot when you're now trying to see the blood donor and the blood recipient. Is that okay? Remember, negative only receives from negative. Positive receives from both positive and negative. So let's dive in. Now let's see if we can recall. Remember, positive receives from both negative and positive. Negative receives only from negative. And also remember, we have also checked the 4 major blood groups, those that we can receive from. So let's see, A and A. Do you think blood group A can give blood group A positive? Yes, because they both have positive, and remember positive receives from both. How about negative? Do you think A can give negative A? A negative? No. Why? Because of this. Remember, negative can receive, only receives from negative, but this is positive, so this one is X. How about this? This is completely out because already you can see this is blood group B and this is A, so this is automatically out. A, this one is out, this one is also out because they're both B. How about this one? Do you think this can receive? Yes, because of the A positive, right? So this one can. How about this one? This can't because of the negative. How about this? This one can't because it's completely new antigen. How about this? No. So here we have 2. We have 1, 2. So A positive can receive from A negative, and AB positive can receive from A negative. Is that okay? I know it's a long table, but let's just take it through slowly, yeah? Just remember, these two things can really help you a lot. A goes to this. Do you think A positive can receive from A negative? Yes, because A positive receives from both positive and negative. So this is yes. How about this? Yes, because they're both negative. How about this? No, it's completely new. This is also B, so it can't receive. How about this one? It has a positive, right? So it can't receive. How about this one? Yes, it has a negative. How about this one? No. How about this one? No, because they can't introduce new antigens to this blood. Is that okay? Now let's move on to B positive now. I will do up to B negative. The rest you can also try it later, okay? At your own free time. So B positive. Do you think A positive can receive from B positive? No. Why? This is completely different, right? If you try to give B positive to A positive, then that will cause agglutination and there will be a reaction and that won't work, right? So this one X, this one is also X. How about B positive? Yes, they both have the same. Okay. How about B negative? No, because of the RH factor, B positive. This will cause a reaction. How about AB positive? We have a B positive, so this is okay. How about B positive giving to AB positive, negative? This can't, because remember, negative only receives from negative, and this is positive, so this can't. How about this one? This can't, because you can't introduce new, blood or new antigen to this new blood. So to this new, to this O positive. So this one is also X. This is also X. Let's finish with the last one, and then you can try to do this at your own free time. B positive. Do you think you can go? A positive can receive from B negative? No, because these are totally different. Yeah, A positive, A negative, both are just X. How about this? B positive, we said receives from both negative and positive. So this one is correct. How about this one? They have the same, RH factor. So this is yes. How about this one? B positive to AB. This is correct because it has a B positive. B positive receives from both negative and positive. So this one has a B. This one also is B. So that's okay. How about AB negative? It has negative, B negative here, so this one is okay. How about O? No. How about O negative? No. So that's it. That's how we go about it. Okay? So I think you can try to complete the table. Remember these key things. Positive receives from both negative and positive, and negative receives only from negative. And remember, we had already done the 4 main, blood groups. So that one can already help you, because you know that A blood group cannot be given to B, because it's this, like, there is no antigen there. There is no A antigen. It's just B antigen. The same with, A positive or A negative. These ones are A, right? You can't give that to B because there is no A antigen here. So it's simply B. That's just the same way we did in the previous one. So I want you to try out these other 4. Just try to look at this. It's just the same process that we have done. You check if AB, okay, does it have any A antigen? Yes, this is A positive, so you can donate that. How about positive? We can't give to negative. Why? Because negative only receives from negative, so this will be X, and just that. So kindly just go through it. I'll also give you some other questions about blood group.